Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Join Bob Stewart and Chad Highms as they chat with real estate veteran Karl Isenburg about strategies for long-term success in the industry. Discover the power of positive mindset, effective partnerships, and leveraging client relationships. Karl shares his insights on taking action, finding new clients, and maintaining authentic conversations. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast, presented by Brivity.
Hey, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Chad, where are you at? It's still
afternoon, right? Where I'm currently living, Bob.
Oh,
it's evening where I'm moving.
Got it. Chad's headed to Italy one day. He's got a timeline, all the stuff. Carl, Sherry.
Bob Stewart, Chad Highms are the visionary gods of the industry. We're so thrilled to be on this webinar with you guys.
Oh, he started with me already, Chad.
Ass already, Bob.
It's an honor.
Okay. Do me a favor. I know you guys don't listen. It's only Chad and my mom that listen to us. Carl and Sherry, will you guys introduce yourself? We'd like to have you guys introduce yourself so that we don't have to read this fun, awesome bio that they sent us about you guys.
Absolutely. Karl Isenburg here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was born and raised in Central Coast, California. First job was in the apparel industry, going up and down the coast, a little surf shop selling board shorts and Hawaiian shirts. And after 18 years in that industry, I said, what the heck, I'm out of here. I was running this huge distribution center on the East Coast and moved back to Arizona where we had family. And that was 27 years ago that I got into this real estate business. And it's been quite the journey. And and that's the one thing that I know how to do, which is sometimes we have these hot flashes and I'm not on the stage and people don't say, oh my God, he's amazing in terms of his volume last year, but I know how to survive and I know how to maintain happiness through that process. 21 years ago, 22.
Yeah, I've been on.
You should have researched that, Karl.
Well, no, I was doing that intentionally, Chad, to reinforce the fact that in our business partnership, Sherry is the rock, and I'm just full of bullshit, but sincere bullshit, Chad. So, Sherry always has the right answer. So it was 21 years ago?
It will be 21 years in August. I'm just a little bit ahead of Jolene on that one.
Yeah.
We've been together. Our kids were going to school together, and I was a PTO co-chair of an auction. And my husband said, maybe you should get a job instead of volunteering. Because I have 4 boys. Maybe you should get a job instead of volunteering for everything. So I looked at Karl and said, you need an assistant.
Yep.
And he did.
Best decision I ever made.
So we've actually known each other probably 27 years.
Long time.
It took him a really long time for that first hire.
Yeah, it did. It did. And I'm a broker. Sherry's a broker. We run a small team here out of Scottsdale. We're place partners. And we're honored to be a part of this webinar, guys.
Cool. Karl, can we start with 27 years you're basically a dinosaur in real estate years, right? And I say that with the utmost respect and awe because we have a really high turnover rate in this industry. Like when you look at how many people make it a year, 3 years, 5 years, to make it 27 years, like you've been through all the cycles and the 2008 financial crisis and all the stuff. Is there what do you attribute that to? What do you attribute your real estate longevity to?
Well, I attribute it to mindset, and I attribute it to attitude, and I attribute it to the fact that no matter what happens, there's always a solution and a decision on what is it I want to do. Because I see that especially in newer agents, because shit happens, guys. All right. And then there's those days you wake up and you're like, what the heck did I sign up for? How am I going to do all this? And then you're super far behind. And this is crazy. And you have to take that deep breath. And this is up Chad's alley. He knows this so much better than I do. But where you have to say, you know what? I'm not going to worry about yesterday. And even though, hey, maybe I can't pay my mortgage at the end of the month, but it doesn't do me any good today to worry about that. What I need to focus on is what do I have to do today? I go, hey, Bob Stewart, what should I do today? And you go, well, it's pretty simple. Here's your Brivity CMA, here's your Brivity CRM, and here's a hot link. And why are you confused? I'm confused as why you're asking that question, Karl.
Don't tell Bob you don't have anybody to call. He will find them for you.
You know what? You don't want to make a phone call? Knock on doors. You don't want to knock on doors? Go do an open house. You want to do something different? Go. There's the bottom line is the key to longevity is a passion for activity and a passion for having real conversations with real people and asking enough questions to find out what is really driving them, and then having the drive and the interest and the excitement to find an answer. And sometimes that doesn't fit into a pretty little package, because sometimes finding that answer is a pain in the ass, because the problem that they've got is not an easy answer. And then you have to really be careful to not spend too much time on something you can't achieve. That's kind of a long-winded answer, Bob. Sorry about that.
No, that's
Bob's
okay.
used to those. He does lots of those.
I give those. Yeah. I love a good long-winded answer. I mean, if as I listen to you and I boil it all down, like what I heard there is take action. Exactly. Like on something, Karl. And if yesterday kicked my butt, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to take action on something. Sherry, can you, how talk to me for a second about like, what do you, like, you have somebody like Karl that's got a positive mindset. Even if he got his butt kicked yesterday, he's going to get up and take action. Like, as that operations person in the background, what do you feel is the most important way to set him up for success? Like, I love this idea of the Ben and Jolene partnership that's in the, you guys have been together for 20 years. Like, what's your mindset in setting Karl up for success? Like, what are you trying to get out of his way? How are you trying to position him?
We are totally different personalities, but yet the same, if that even makes sense. There are things I do not like doing. I personally, I'm not crazy about selling, but if I have to sell, I will. But I would rather do admin work all day long. I would rather find somebody in the database that like if there's someone that has responded to our client event, or a recruit has responded to me from a phone call, I like setting them up and making that appointment and handing it off. Another thing is I like to do the task oriented, whether it be setting up the auto plans or applying auto plans or organizing. And it's easier for me to find the phone calls for him to make. So one thing that I find frustrating is if somebody on the team says to me, I don't know who to call. We have a huge pond of unqualified that haven't been called in the last 7 days. It's time to call them, and which I've been working on all week, and it's fun for me because every time I call that pond, there's 2 or 3 people I can move somewhere else.
Sorry, did I interrupt you, Karl?
But I'm gonna add to that, okay? In that I have a certain amount of high I in me, right?
No.
And I mean that it is, if you want to distract me, just call me up. I'll get distracted. And so Sherry will say, hey, Karl, what are you doing? Which she's really saying is, oh, for God's sakes, what are you doing? Your plan says this and you're not doing that. Yeah, so she has to constantly pull me back to the plan. The questions
like this. What you doing, Karl?
Yeah, that's not what I hear.
And then he hears it a different way. Yeah.
Well, because it hits home, because I made a plan. This is what I'm going to do. And then I'm veering away from that. So to answer your question, Bob, she is constantly redirecting me back to the course of action of what needs to happen today.
Bob, that is a huge takeaway everybody should be listening to, because we all need that person, right? The horse knows which way to run at the Kentucky Derby, just to keep bringing that up for you, Bob, right? The horse knows which way to run. Some of them, they put the blinders on so he's more focused. Some of them, they don't put it on. He knows which way to run. The jockey is just there to say, what are you doing? Right? When the horse is going a little left or going a little right.
Get thrown off the horse before the race.
Right. That's completely different lesson we can talk about for Great White there, right? Yet it's that person that's there for you. Now, folks, this is the value of a team, because there's so many people on a team. There will be somebody. It might be another agent sitting beside you making calls that gives you the elbow, right? If Bob and I were ever on a real estate team together and sat near each other, you can be sure there would be that friendly elbow like, hey, What are you doing? I need you to get going because your going is what gets me going. It doesn't always have to be the, operations person and it's finding that person sits beside you or at least walks around close enough to you enough to be able to honestly say, hey, what are you doing? Because there are a lot of us like Karl that can easily get distracted by a butterfly that flies by.
I think you need to enlist that person, right, Chad? Like you need, like, if you don't have that person, Karl's lucky enough to have Sherry for that. And they've developed, whatever it sounds like in Karl's head, I'm sure it's less aggressive from Sherry. I know Sherry. But you need to enlist that person. Like ask that person, that other agent on your team, that ops director that's there, could be your husband or wife, or, you need to enlist them, give them permission to do that for you. Karl, can I ask you, when did you know? So let's see, 20, you said 26 years, Sherry's been there 21 years. So there was about 5 years. When did you know it was time to bring on help to your business? Like if I'm a single agent sitting out there today, when do I know? Because I feel like at any point there's probably this leap of faith that you're taking in some ways. It's like, man, I'm going to bring this person on. Like I'm now responsible for, another person. Like when did you know it was the right time?
Well, I know specifically the day and how this came about. I had known because it had been, hey, you need leverage, you need to grow. This is what this model says. But I came into this real estate business with a negative net worth of $600,000. And I was underwater and I was making money as a salesperson again. And I was like, I'm cheap. I don't know. I don't want to spend that money because I need the money to pay people, do all this other stuff. Right. And I was missing the point. Okay. Because I'm doing these deals and I'm driving back. It was late in the evening. I'm returning a phone call. One of my clients, he's the president of a friggin' bank, multi-million-dollar deal. And we were talking about things that maybe I hadn't gotten done. And he's like, he stopped me and he goes, Karl, what are you doing? Because when a client says what Sherry says to me on it every day, it is in your face. What do you?
He heard it much different from the client than he does me.
And he wasn't mad. He's a friend. He's like, what are you doing? What? I'm confused. Why don't you have an assistant? The next, I think within 2 days, I'd hired Sherry because it'd been pressure, logic. You go on these webinars, you read these books, everything, but it's like in your face, like you're losing millions of dollars of revenue because you're cutting your nose off to spite your face because you're unwilling to look at how leverage can help your life. And leverage doesn't have to be a W-2 hired employee. It can be done. You can say, here's my plan. This is what I'm going to do. Hey, Bob, can I text you every day? Because if I text you what I did the day before, the first thing in the morning or late that night, and I promised to do that, then I'm looking at what I said I was going to do this week and what I've actually done week to date. And I'm telling myself what I did and didn't. I don't know if that makes sense.
It wasn't easy. Handoff was not easy. I started with little tasks, and my background is financial planning. I was a claims adjuster. I raised kids for 10 years, but it wasn't easy when he had a file, and I was like, "Let me have the file, Karl," and it was like this. No, and I'm like, "Let me have the file, Karl. You can trust." The trust thing came a little while after he saw that I could actually answer the phone professionally.
And that's where, as a dinosaur, thanks, Bob. I wonder what kind of dinosaur he thinks I am.
Dinosaurs are awesome.
There you go. Awesome. Right. So
I don't know like the eras, Karl, but I entered real estate in 2001, which I think if I'm doing my math right is like 1 year after you did. So I'm right there with you, bud. Like,
and so, but this is exactly. He's like, I got a little hand, big teeth. And so, anyway, this is one of the things that, and this is, as the two of you are so great at teaching and coaching and guiding, that I try to find a way to if I can just give this as a gift to a newer agent and I see it all the time. They hold that file because they want to be able to put it into the brokerage system. They want to do sometimes they fight the systems within the team, right? Or they want to do this other stuff instead of the dollar productive stuff. And the reality is, don't tell me, okay, that a 28-year-old agent that's had his license for 2 years, or she's had his license for a couple of years, can't just snap their fingers and kick my ass this week. Absolutely. They've got better health. They've got more stamina. They are with Chad Highms doing squats every day, and so, that individual has everything in it except that core strength of like, I'm going to get my butt kicked, but I have the strength to get up and keep on going.
Carl, what are you going to, if you had to find a client today?
Yep.
What would you do?
It's one of those things like, oh crap, we're not going to make payroll, or, oh, we're not going to do this. Like this, one of those, holy crap, I got to find a list. Am I finding a listing or a buyer?
Sure. Whatever you think's the easiest way to a paycheck, I guess.
Well, the easiest way to a paycheck, first thing I do is I'd look at where my history of where the business is that I've done business. Okay. I'd find a vacant listing from some agent that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because if I need the business that bad, it means I probably don't have that listing right now.
Okay.
I'd call that agent up and say, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to do a 1 week open house sprint on your home. Okay. And I'd like permission to do that. So I'd find that. Okay. And I get a folding table and a chair and my computer and my phone. And I would make a commitment to myself that I am going to, this is someone who's been in business, right? For me, the easiest thing would be to call every single one of my past clients and say, I need a favor. I need a client today. I really do. And for my family, for my business, and we've been in business a really long time. Can you just take a minute and can you tell me someone that may be thinking of buying or selling real estate? I know you have a lot of things to do today, but I need a favor. Who do you know that I should know? And that sounds really stupid and it sounds really boring. But you know that if I were to do that, and by the way, I'm in an open house in an area that fits a demographic of where I've done most of my business, in an area that I know intimately because I know everything about that neighborhood. So by the way, while I'm making those calls, there's a pretty good chance if I'm doing it I said, cancel all the Zooms, cancel all the meetings, cancel everything. All I'm going to do right now is lead generate. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. And sorry, let the world crash and burn. Call Sherry. I'm going to go.
Bob, what would you do? What would you do, Bob? Now I'm curious.
I do exactly what, I don't know. I could have given a better answer than Carl. Here's what I heard. I'm going to go find a listing in a neighborhood I know, in a neighborhood that if somebody walks in there, I'm going to be able to demonstrate maximum value to them. So I'm going to put myself in the way of a buyer potentially. Right. So that's the first thing. That's super smart. I don't know that there's anywhere we can find people lower in the funnel without paying for it than walking out and hosting an open house. I think that's brilliant. And then where does 66% of our business in real estate come from every year? It comes from past clients or referrals from those past clients. And so makes a ton of sense to me that after I've put myself in the way of somebody that might walk in, that while I'm sitting there waiting for them to walk in, I would call into that group of people that historically for, I don't know, as long as I've been doing this, 25 years now, Carl, that's been the number one source of business for real estate agents is business from our past clients or referrals from those people. Chad, I can't think of a better answer. You have something you'd sneak in there?
The only thing I would do, whether it was the neighborhood that Carl found the open house in or my own neighborhood, is I'd door knock it. Right. And I would use the script like, nobody cares about the value of your home as much as I do because it impacts me. I'm your neighbor. When was the last time you seriously considered selling your home? Or I would go through the open house neighborhood because I'm not going to sit there all day for the open house. It's not going to be a 9 to 5 open house. I can use the hours before, the hours after to be knocking before I leave that open house or before I start the open house.
Yeah. And I think, Chad, that was one thing I was a caveat. I'm so glad you brought that up because as soon as I finished, I go, wow, I should have brought that up. And I'm not, I got bad feet, man. For me to walk that neighborhood is hard, right?
And you live in Scottsdale. It might be 108 outside.
Doesn't matter. Chad's absolutely right. And the reality is that if that 9 to 5, okay, maybe the open house is 10 to 5. My point is you're going to get in the way of it. And it sounds crazy, but if it's vacant, here's the stuff. It's crazy. Okay. I'm in an office out of that open house. Okay. That is my office. And there is nothing. And I'm assuming when he said I had to get it, I didn't have an extra 30 grand just sitting around. Right. Because there are ways to buy that business. There is. You see it. Okay. And I'm making the assumption that how do I get something right now without a huge outlay of cash, and it has to do with activity, and that is, so the door knocking, you can't beat that, by the way, because those people, they saw Chad setting up the open house, and they're like, what the hell is up with that Chad guy? He's doing squats in the front yard before he goes in the house, and he seems to always be doing squats when he's there. But anyway, enough of that, Chad. I don't know if these people know. I won't even go there. But my point is that that they see how motivated you are in that, and then also if you're connected with I don't know, within Brivity, if you have the opportunities tab, or you have Land Voice or Remind, or the ability to capture that information, putting together a circle prospecting for everyone in that area, okay, is incredibly valid. And I guess if I can't make the call, make the walks, I should maybe hire someone, leverage that out to go put a door here. Hey, come visit me on my open house.
Well, we also, when we're doing an open house, and these days we're doing a massive amount of open houses, so it's a little harder to keep up with it. But we go into a Brivity, and if they're set up on a listing alert, it's there. That product may be there. We hit the button and we send everybody the open house invitation.
You're using like the search listings functionality and the reverse prospecting to go find people to invite that have looked at similar homes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They may not want it, but they may know somebody that wants to move in there, or they may have a child or something. I had that happen just the other day at an open house, and it was kind of a pop-up open house, but this gal's been watching the feeds, and she showed up. I don't know how many she's been to, but we're going to find her one.
Right. And don't forget, if you're in that neighborhood and you're using Brivity, you've got the ability to do a market report. You've got the ability to ask Gabby, hey, help me create this, so that when you're making those circle prospecting calls, you say, I'm going to be opening up my house because Chad told me to open it up after 9. I'm going to open my open house at 11 o'clock tomorrow. And I was going to be walking past your home at 10 o'clock. I was wondering if I could drop off a home equity report or a market report or a CMA, however you want to call it. I want to give you a piece of crap that's got great value in terms of you and your home, and how you can have a wonderful baseline for what that home is going to be now and in the future. Can I drop it by tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.? I mean, that's super powerful. And this is nothing new, and there's a lot of other ways to do it. But, anyone on this webinar, I'm assuming, has Brivity, right? I mean, it's pretty damn good stuff. So I think that the tools that we've got are right in front of us.
You can also, we talked about this the other day with our team, you can also look at the clients while you're sitting at open house, clients that are close to you. You can look them up and hey, come by and see me. I'm sitting at this open house. Love to talk to you. Yeah. It doesn't have to be about selling that house, but once you start the conversation, it always seems to be, I have a question about real estate.
Karl, I mean, again, I mentioned earlier, 2/3 of the business in this industry comes from our past clients or referral from them or our sphere. What's something simple that you think most people miss around like creating those or extending or building on those relationships with the people we already know? What's something simple you do to keep those relationships strong, or maybe a simple way that you ask for referrals from those people? When I look at our data across all of Place, it makes me sad that we're not connected to more of those people more often. And so I'm wondering if you have something after being in the business for 26 years that when you call up Sphere or a past client that you kind of go to if you don't have something else.
Yeah. If I don't have anything else, I don't know what to say. And I'm calling you by saying, hey, Bob, thanks so much for picking up, buddy. I'm kind of embarrassed. I realized I saw your name and I had to call you because I realized that I haven't asked you enough about what I can do for you. And if they're a business owner or entrepreneur or whatever, it's like, how can I help you? How can I send you business? How can I help you in your job? Even if you're in a crazy job, there's something they could really use. And I've got a huge network of people that I know. So no matter what job you have or you're doing, I'll bet you there's something I can do that it's of value to you. So I can ask that. So that's one. Okay. The other thing, when let's say they're retired or they don't have a job, and there's from a business perspective, I'm like, crap, I'm not going to go pull weeds. I don't want to do that for them, but I can find them a good gardener. But then we also force the issue, okay, by creating quarterly client events, okay, which is once again, you get your vendors, you get your people to help you with that expense. But we do fun, we did the Derby de Mayo. That's why she knew about the horse. We celebrated Cinco de Mayo and the Kentucky Derby, and they filled out but they had to fill out who's going to win.
Wait, you guys just did this on Sunday?
Friday. We did it
Friday. Okay.
We do it Friday. They pick horses.
Oh yeah, the Kentucky Derby was on Saturday. Okay, got it.
I mean, we only had, because it's a smaller event.
Well, we also had Anaheim last week, so we were coming back.
But but we only had about 45 people, right? But that's not bad. And guess what? For them to sign in, they had to put their name, email address, phone number on the entry sheet. So they
brought people.
And they all brought like 2 or 3 other friends who are now added to the database, who now think they're part of the friggin' family because I gave them a little cheeseburger slider. Great. And they got to fill out a piece of paper, and they had the chance to win a $5 gift certificate to Taco Bell to celebrate.
$5 whole dollars?
Yeah.
Well, there's bigger prizes, but it's so funny because we have a couple people in our database, older people, that have never been to Taco Bell, and they are so excited about their $5 Taco Bell gift card.
Hey, tell them to get the chalupa.
You have ruined these people's health for life now.
Hey, but it tastes good. Chalupa. Get a chalupa.
But to answer your question, Bob, it's about asking more questions and having a real conversation, because sometimes we get caught up in the action. I'm going to get so many dials. I'm going to do so much of this. It's really about the contact and having a real. If I could have 20 real conversations a day.
20 real conversations a day will transform.
Yeah. I mean, how long would that take? 20 real conversations. In my head, I go, okay, that's a 5 to 10 minute conversation at least. That's 200 minutes right there. That's all day.
That's 200 minutes. That's 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours, not counting the missed dials. So that's at least 4 hours of dialing to get those conversations in
20 contacts a day is a $250,000 a year business if you can figure out a way to do it consistently. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
for 3.5 hours, you could go work at McDonald's for 8 hours, and you've got a $24,000 a year business.
But I call bullshit on that, Bob.
Okay, tell me why.
Okay, because if I'm a newer agent in this call, they're calling bullshit because, and I'm not saying it's not true because what you said is true. But I get people on stage, guys, your lead gen is going to take you an hour and a half. What's the problem? Why aren't you doing it? You're stupid. Well, when you're a high I like myself, and you're supposed to have a 3-minute conversation, maybe it was a 25-minute conversation. And maybe you haven't created the skills of having a really great conversation and getting out of that conversation in a timely manner. So to Chad's point, maybe that's what you had to do for 6 hours. Yeah. And maybe my skills need to be better, or I need to change the way I do it.
I think it depends on the list. It really does.
It does.
If it's somebody if you're calling expired, you get off the phone a lot faster because you've got the information you need and you've either moved them forward or they're not interested.
But it is a time management thing. It is a management thing. And it is a, Carl, what you doing? Conversation.
Carl, what you doing? And look, Carl's decided it's worth it for Carl to have the 20-minute conversation instead of figuring out some script to get him off the phone in 7 minutes. Yep. Which I know if he decided he was going to figure that out, he'd figure it out, right? Ben used to have a good script for, I don't know, I forget what it was, Chad. You remember? Maybe it was at the start of the call. Hey, I've only got a minute. I hate
to tell you where Ben got that one, right? Hey, I got 5 minutes and your name came to mind, Bob, right? What's going on? And now 5 minutes into the conversation, I can easily say, oh man, that other call's coming through. Can I call you back later? Right? And now it's a 5-minute call.
Hey, Carl, you keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't let Chad and I change your mojo my friend. You figured this out. Like, you've been doing this for 26 years.
And I love that you're being authentic with our audience and you're calling BS where it needs to be and say, look, no, it's not going to be what you always hear from the stage sometimes. You brought reality to this, Carl and Sherry. Thank you.
You bet, guys.
Hey,
you guys. Chad, can I give you a call? That's gold, man. That's great. Thank you.
Sherry, Carl, you guys get back to work. We appreciate you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Chad. I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, go out. Hey, if you need business, go do what Carl just said you should do. Open house, call your past clients or your sphere. If you're a new agent, you don't have a bunch of past clients, call the people that know you and be authentic. Carl,
and squats.
I love that. I love the ask. Oh, yeah, and squats.
And squats.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks, guys.